Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We from Group 6 will present the result of our group. I am Asifa Kolbi Meretno as the moderator, and three of my members is Aida Asrafi Agusti, Olivia Desliana, and Muhammad Al-Ghazali. Well, the material that we will present entitled Permission Letters in Business will be conveyed by Aida Asrafi Agusti. To Aida Asrafi Agusti, please.
Okay, I will read the first material. The first is licensing setting issues. Licensing issues in the business world include licensing in the general government sector, agrarian or land sector, industrial sector, business or trade sector, tourism sector, public works sector, agricultural sector, health sector, social sector, and other sectors. The government has issued regulation, namely number 5 of 1984, dates April 11, 1984, concerning guidelines for the implementation and control of licensing in the business sector in order to simplify the many licensing system. Next. The problem of business world licensing can be said to have four related problems. One, the existence of forms and type of permits that are carried out in stage, starting with a letter of intent to obtain a principal permit, which is then known as a temporary permit, permanent permit, and expansion permit. Two, the existence of a legal entity that is required in licensing so that there are different legal entities such as KUHD, UUPMA, UUPMDN. The existence of industrial activity fields that in granting permits are distinguished between fields managed by departments such as industry, agriculture, mining, and other departments. 4. In the trade sector, permits are basically issued by the trade department, but are required to get recommendation from the relevant department, so that the paths become longer. Next. There are 7 important things that are the benchmark for each permit to be issued. Namely, 1. It is necessary to reduce the number of permits owned by the company so that only those that are needed are granted permits. 2. This is necessary to simplify administrative requirements and avoid requirements that are in line with the relevant permit series. 3. A long period of time is given to ensure certainty and business continuity. 4. It is necessary to reduce or even eliminate the cost of managing permits. 5. It is necessary to simplify reporting procedures. 6. It is necessary to carry out supervision and pressure of business sector permits, at least reporting once every 6 months. 7. It is necessary to issue the implementation of permit related to the provisions of civil service legislation, including claims for compensation, civil servant discipline, and criminal charges. Next, according to presidential decree number 53 of 1988, it is stated that there are several activities that are not subject to mandatory company registration provisions, namely: 1. Business or activities that operate outside the economic sector and the nature and purpose of which are not solely to seek profit or gain. 2. Business fields such as formal education organized by anyone, non-formal education fostered by the government and the community in the form of a business entity, notary, legal advisor, individual practice of doctors or group of doctors, hospitals, and medic. The requirements for obtaining a permit refer to 5 things. 1. Requirements for obtaining a permit. 2. The weight of the business activity associated with the permit granted. Various supporting requirements associated with the impact of granting the permit in question. 4. Various rights and benefits that can be used by the permit recipient. 5. The permit recipient is required to fulfill obligation. Okay, that's all from me. I'll return into the moderator.
Thank you, Aida. Okay, next I explain about trade business license or SIUP. Trade business license or CIUP is a permit to be able to carry out trading activity. The legal basis for obtaining a CIUP is Law Number 3 of 1982 concerning mandatory company registration, which states that a company must be registered within 3 months of starting its business. Provisions regarding permits have been issued by the decree of the Minister of Trade number 14458 KP X11 XEE 84 December 1984 concerning the trade business license or CIUP. The ministerial decree states that every company that carries out trading activity is required to have a CIUP. Before a company has a CIUP, it must first submit a letter of application for a permit or CPI obtained at the regional office of the Ministry of Trade or the local trade office. Okay, next. Although CIUP is a basic requirement, there are companies that are exempt from the obligation to have a CIUP consisting of a company representative who use the CIUP of the head office in carrying out trading activities. B. Companies that have obtained a business license from the technical department based on applicable laws and regulation and do not trade. C. Production companies established in the framework of Law Number 6 of 98 concerning the domestic investment. D. State-owned companies and public companies. E. small individual companies. Okay, next. There are 4 types of business that are required to have a CIUP. 1. Micro-scale business. A micro-scale business is a type of business for trading activities or on a very small and or micro scale. Aside that a business is included in a micro scale business is if the net income owned is below Indonesian rupiah 50 million. This nominal does not include land and building assets where the business is located. If the business owned is on this scale, then later the business will obtain a micro CIUP. 2. Small scale business. The category of small business is a business that generates a net income of Indonesian rupiah 50 million to Indonesian rupiah 500 million, including land and buildings similar to the CIUP for micro business. The CIUP obtained for small-scale business permits is called the small CIUP. Okay, next. 3. Medium-scale business. A medium-sized business is a type of business that generates a net income of Indonesian rupiah 500 million to Indonesian rupiah 1 billion, excluding land and building where the business is located. If the business income has reached the nominal range, then the CIUP obtained will be medium CIUP. 4. Large-scale business. A large-scale business is a business that generates the net income exceeding Indonesian rupiah 1 billion, excluding land and building assets. For large-scale business, the CIUP is a large CIUP. Okay, next. Okay, the government has made exception regulation for companies that are not required to have a CIUP. This is regulated in the provision of Article 4, Paragraph 1, letter C of Permendag number 146 of 29. The following are the criteria for companies that are not required to apply for a CIUP. Companies that have business activities outside the trade sector. Types of companies whose business activities are outside the trade sector are not required to apply for a CIUP. Example include notary service, legal service, public accounting service, doctor practice, non-formal education service, or form of business activities that are not carried out in the form of a business entity, either without or a legal form or a business entity with a legal form. 2. Representative office and branch office. It should be noted that if a company opens a branch office, the branch office is not required or doesn't need to apply for a new CIUP. However, it must meet the requirement that the business activities that have been carried out are the same as those carried out by the head office. This is because a CIUP is only needed for companies that are developing a new type business. Okay, 3 micro trading companies with adequate criteria: solo proprietorship or partnership, business activities managed by the owner or family members and has a maximum net worth of Indonesian rupiah 50 million rupiah. However, if a micro trading company wants to have a CIUP, then a micro CIUP can be issued. So, specifically for micro trading, CIUP is an optional document that is not mandatory to have. Okay, the next material will be explained by Olivia Desriana.
Okay, the next material, financing institution licensing. The provisions governing the producers for establishing and licensing this financing institution have been regulated in the decree of the Minister of Finance number 1251 KMK 103/1988. To obtain a business and financing institution permit, a permit must be requested with an application to the Minister of Finance by attaching the following. 1. Deed of establishment of a financing company that has been approved according to applicable laws and regulations. 2. Proof of payment of paid-up capital for limited liability companies or principal savings and mandatory savings for cooperative at one of the banks in Indonesia. 3. Example of a financing agreement to be used. 4. List of management of the financing company. 5. Taxpayer identification number of the company. 6. Balance sheet of the financing company. 7. Joint venture agreement between a foreign party and an Indonesian party for a joint financing company which reflects the direction of Indonesian in share ownership. This business permit is granted no later than 30 days after the application is received in full, and the business permit will be valid as long as the company is still running its business. If the financing institution carries out activities that are contrary to its field of business, it will clearly result in sanctions by revoking the permit grant. Determination of revocation of the business permit is carried out after a written warning has been given to the person concerned 3 times in a row with a grace period of 1 month and freezing of activities for the business permit for a period of 6 months since the last statement. The next, licensing in the industrial sector. Licensing in the industrial sector has been specifically regulated by government regulation number 13 concerning industrial business licensing, where industrial growth has an important role that must be able to provide motivation that can encourage and attract investors to invest their capital in the industry. The industry referred to according to Law Number 5 of 1984 concerning industry is an economic activity that process raw materials, semi-finished materials, and finished good into good that are more valuable to their users. There are two types of industrial business permit, namely, one, permanent permit, which is an industrial business permit that is given definitively to an industrial company that has been producing commercially. This permanent permit is valid forever as long as the industrial company in question is producing. Two, expansion permit, which is an industrial business permit given to an industrial company that is increasing the capacity of a type of product or commodity that has been permitted. Okay, that's all for me. Back to moderator.
Thank you, Olivia. The next material will be explained by Al-Ghazali.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Companies that have obtained industrial business permit are burdened with three obligations, namely, 1. Implementing effort to balance and preserve natural resources to avoid make due to environmental pollution. 2. Implementing efforts to secure and ensure the safety of equipment, process and production facility, including transportation and work safety. 3. Implementing efforts to establish relationship and cooperation between entrepreneurs. Industrial business permits can be revoked if the company does things like 1. Expanding without having an expansion permit. 2. Not providing information or fabricating the truth. 3. Transferring rights and location without the approval of the Minister of Industry. 4. Failure to fulfill the provision and the permit. Next. Tax on stamp duty. Regulation of the Minister of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia number 134 line PMK 03 2021 concerning payment of stamp duty and chapter 1 general provision article 1. In this ministerial regulation, the following are defined. 1. Stamp duty is a tax on document. 2. A document is something written or written in handwritten, printed or electronic form which can be used as evidence or information. For a stamp is a label or strip in the form of a sticker, electronic or other form that has characteristic and contains security elements used by the government of the Republic of Indonesia, which is used to pay tax on documents. 20. Tax payments letter. Hereafter abbreviated as SSV is proof of payments or deposit of tax that has been made using a form or has been made in another way to the state treasury through a payment relation designated by the minister who organizes government affairs in the financial sector. Next. Then in chapter 2 on stamp duty payment, Article 2. 1. The top seal may key payment of the stamp duty with at the times the time the duty is wet. 2. Documents that are subject to stamp duty are subject to stamp duty certificates rate of 10,000 rupiah. Article 3. 1. Payment of stamp duty await on document is made using I stamp or B SSV. 2. The stamp as referred to in paragraph 1, letter A is in the form of I adhesive stamp, B electronic stamp, or C stamp in other form. Next. Article 12. Payment of stamp duty using SSP as referred to in Article 3, paragraph 1, letter B is mode for payment of stamp duty by the debtor in the event of I. Subsequent stamping with a number of more than 50 documents. B. Payment of stamp duty using stamp adhesive as referred to in Article 3, paragraph 2. Letter A is not possible besides stamp adhesive is not available or cannot be used or C. Payment of stamp duty using electronic stamp as referred to in Article 3, paragraph 2. Letter B is not base of failure of the electronic stamp system. Article 13. In the event that payment of stamp duty using stamp adhesive or electronic stamp is not possible to be moderate the time the stamp duty is awarded due to the circumstances as referred to in Article 20, letter B or letter C. Payment of stamp duty using SSP by the debtor must be made no later than 30 calendar day from the time the stamp duty is paid. Moderator.
Okay, thank you, Al-Ghazali. Well, the conclusion of this material is licensing in business is the process of obtaining official permits or approvals from the government or relevant authorities for a business to operate legal. These permits are important to ensure the business meets applicable legal, safety, and environmental standard. Types of license may vary depending on the industry sector, location, and type of business activity. Incomplete or unobtainable license can result in legal sanction, fines, or business closure. Okay, that's all from group 6. If there are any mistakes, we apologize about it. Okay, thank you.